Hang on a second. Get that hotel view going. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Where did my comments go? I had them up. Hang on a second. So, first of all, great to see you. Doug Doppler here, in case we haven't met, and I'm coming to you from my hotel room here in sunny Santa Clara. It is sunny because, well, it's sunny outside. Gosh darn it. I had my comments selected. There we go. Come on back to it. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right there. It's hiding somewhere. There we go. Hiding right there. Come on. All right, first of all, my name is Doug, in case we haven't met. Doppler's Gear Garage. What we do here on these kind of Saturday sessions is we talk about guitars and gear. Last night, I was at the Metallica show here in Santa Clara. On Sunday night, I'm going to the second half, if you will, of the show. They kind of have a long, day-long intermission. Albert, what's going on, my man? Great to see you. Let's see here. Hold on a second. There we go. Good. Nice to see Melissa. Oh, wait, that's not Melissa. Hang on a second. All right, first of all, so obviously my glasses aren't quite strong enough to see the little baby font that I've got going on in this here, but I can see Albert. So first of all, Albert, good morning. And gosh darn it, Sylvain, good morning. And Eric. I guess I'm feeling a bit like playing today. By the way, I've got my fancy pants, kind of got it in January. Finally getting around to doing a demo with this puppy, but this is an Epiphone. Believe it or not, this is a $699 guitar. Gosh darn it, I'm bonding with this guitar. Digital Viper! Good morning to you. Hello, hello, hello. All right, well, first of all happy Saturday. Let me see if this gets any bigger when I bring this in here. Hang on a sec. Oh, I got a bunch of folks in here. Let's do this right here. Come on, let's bring this in. There we go. I spent too much money on gear lately, more than I have in my 48 years of playing guitar. That is a virtual high five right there, bro. Raise it up. Come on. We celebrate the reasonable and responsible expenditure of money on gear because you know what? The great thing that brings us here, and I see some more people in there. Hang on a second. Arlen Salte. Charlie, hello. I think you may be new here. Mike, hello. Mike Rand, of course. Emmanuel, hello, hello. I'm going to do some more greetings here in just a moment. But the thing about gear, and the thing that I really, I just dropped a new video about Line 6 Stadium, and it's basically a series of follow-up questions per the last video that I dropped last Saturday. But one of the things I talked about was the fun factor. So that's part of what I want to talk about today. Also, Chris Alexander, bless his dear soul, he's not going to be with us today because he's off having a picnic with his wife, which is a good thing to do. I can assure you that when it comes to gear expenditures, if you have a significant other, investing time in those relationships yields gear dividends, not in a kind of a manipulative way, but it's kind of like you get what you give. All right, so one of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit is, I'm going to touch on it now because it's important, is the concept of, I've been kind of on this pentatonic journey. And so the idea is we're taking the minor pentatonic G, B flat, C, D, F, and G, and what we're doing is Chris had asked, like, hey, you got 3 upper string modes, but what about 3 upper string pentatonic, and literally if you took the look. There we go, with the delay. And I probably should do the octave pattern. But basically we're taking G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, and C, because that's the G, B flat, and C, the octave there. Just basically doing that, what I'm going to describe as stretch 1, 3, 4. Stretch 1, 2, 4. What I'm going to describe as stretch 1, 2, stretch 4. Stretch 1, 3, stretch 4. Stretch 1, 2, stretch 4. Stretch 1, 3, stretch 4. That basically, you just do those puppies 2 times each. Those are 8-note triplets. And you just kind of move up and down the high E string. The thing that's cool about it is kind of in the same way, 3 upper string modes. Oh, I'm in drop E still. But you can do it on any string, right? So I'm there at the 5, flat 7, and 1. Which is this guy up here. Same shape. I'm starting at D, F. I love that. D, F, and G, dude. F and G, dude. Or do that. But, the cool thing about this is it's just a great way to get some different vibes out of it. Because, with the... Hold on, let me get the right hand in there. There we go. Let me get a little bit more of the right hand in there. Let's see if we can do... There we go. Scoot that back. There we go. And those guys are just great for that, just getting that right hand nice and loose. The other thing about those, you don't have to cross strings, which just adds that next little bit of dealio. One of the things that folks, we've been talking about is also this concept of pick slant. There are times that I've really been noticing that with the right hand here, and I'm going to get back to salutations in a moment, and we're going to raise them up because we always do that. But the idea is that as we're crossing strings, let's say we're going a little less delay there. There we go. But we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and that last stroke on the high E string on the way back to the second string is a downstroke. And somehow we got to cross over the top of the high E string and not clip it with a pick stroke on the way to getting that note. And that's one of the places a little pick slanting can actually help. So if you look, Sorry. A little bit less of you there. All right, there we go. So I have a tendency, you'll see just a little bit of a turn of the wrist right there. And then for those of us that are completely modal maniacs, that's basically taking C major, C Dorian, C Phrygian, C Lydian, C Mixolydian, C minor, C Locrian, and just love rocking between them. And so that's where that little tiny, tiny bit of pick slanting that you just work on slowly. It's that note you might just want to practice. Now, I do have to take a moment here and put out a special salutation, because I got into a little bit of when I talked about, like, putting into the the tank, the love tank. I realized that Melissa Doppler came onto the stream last week, and I did not give her a love salutation. That was not well received in the Doppler household, and it was not for lack of affection. It was just lack of appropriate attention. So I'll play the rest when you get back into the room, love. In any case, love you, sweetheart. Look forward to hanging out with you today. All right. Gosh darn it, let's get caught up here for a quick second here. All right, first of all, always a pleasure to see some new faces in the house. Let me get caught up here. And sometimes people check in and I miss them. Arlen, I hear your strings. You're a sensitive hotel guest to the neighbors. The funny thing is when I fired up the amp, so I'm playing through. All right, I'm famous for dropping stuff in a live stream. There we go. I'm playing through my Line 6 Catalyst over here. And I have to admit, kind of at about 8 a.m. when I started kind of... Starting it on that, short of the Nirvana. I wasn't sure I wasn't going to hear a rapping on the wall or a kicking on the door, because there's a bunch of Metallica fans here, like some of whom were having a little bit, they were drinking more than coffee to stay warm. Let's just put it that way. So in any case, all right, let me see. Charlie Hines, no way, Epperman. So what's going on? First of all, I love that logo. If you're still here, dude, this guitar, the crazy thing about it, $699. I have kind of really... So it kind of goes from, and because somebody's out there, what about the neck pickup? What about pentatonic? That's the crazy thing about those 3-note per string. You can also, we were just heading back to that briefly, instead of just doing and like I mentioned before, So B flat. That's why it's good to know the note names. You can just walk that same concept over. I also want to briefly talk about something here, and I'm going to get back into the salutations. Let me get Charlie off of there. Charlie, great to see you. Welcome aboard. Love that logo. Muscle memory is one of those things that can be your friend and your enemy. You kind of noticed a minute ago, I went, instead of playing, I played I played like the Dorian note or something. The point being, what I've been really working on, I've been working on with my students, and I want to share this with you because it's so important. It's like, look, if you're trying to get something, what I affectionately call foursies. Because what it gives you a chance to go, hey, 4 out of 4, am I nailing? It's also something else I call the subdivision method. Basically, those are 8th note triplets, and I play twice as many, twice as fast. And so that helps us get from to, because we want to have, when we're playing fast, the same relaxation that we've got when we're playing slowly. And the other thing about doing foursies is that is building muscle memory. So what ends up happening is your fingers just kind of know where to go more than they don't know where to go, which helps a lot. I'm kind of in a season where I'm spending a lot of time, and by the way, if you're not doing this, may I suggest doing this, especially when you need to kind of like break through some walls. I spend a lot of time in the morning jamming along with different tracks to kind of try different keys and different rhythms and different progressions. And in the process, I'm kind of coming up with a bunch of new ideas. If you don't already have a way of documenting what you do, your mobile device is a great way. Messages is fabulous. Voice memos, my bad. But then what I do is I go into to the text app, and I message myself, or in the messages, and I text myself some of the clips sometimes. I'm like, oh, this is particularly valuable. Or, which is what I'm live streaming through today, an application called eCam Live, ECAMM Live. It's a Mac-only application, but it enables me to just kind of be playing along with something and then kind of keep it in record and then pause and then record and then pause. And the other day I literally ended up with this file that's a gigabyte, but I went back and I'm like, oh, I want to remember that, because when you find yourself in, where you're in your peaks as opposed to your valleys, then you kind of come up with stuff you're like, and the other thing I want to inspire you hopefully towards is the idea, and this is something I'm really working on, is that, it's really easy in the quote-unquote internet age to kind of go, all right, I'm going to perfect this little section and perfect this section, versus kind of that whole, I have no idea. Where you kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I like the idea of just kind of going, well, what happens if I don't play what I just normally would go to? Like, I don't know, I guess I got to figure something out. And there's a certain period you're going to feel like you ever seen a little kid learning to walk, like, they take a couple steps. But after a while, you just kind of get your flow. And improvisational skill is really the thing about that, as opposed to quote unquote R practice licks, because I got a bunch of those too. Is it kind of allows us to go, I'm chasing that thread of like reading that moment, right? So let's just say B flat. have no idea what I'm going to play, but I'm going to, you know what? Now there are certain things. Kind of didn't. That's what I was. But if you never take chances, you don't kind of walk into those things. You're like, oh, all right, that was kind of fun. A half step. You know, so normally a half step. That natural 7, not necessarily a super happy to. So thanks to you, because traditionally I would. That's basically B flat minor pentatonic. That's that flat. I don't know, a little out of tune. I'll check that in a sec. That's a flat 3 to natural 3. I might do something like flat 3 to natural 3, and go to the 5. But I went. And then you can kind of keep coming back to it. So you're going down to the flat 7. And that little last little bend. And those things are only, the kind of things that really happen when you're like, I don't know, let me just try some stuff that I haven't done. And I think we kind of get programmed into, all right, I got to run my exercise. I got to do, make sure that I'm improving with the metronome and all of that. But what about the stuff you can't necessarily track with a metronome? And I know that you know what I'm talking about. And kind of that last line 6 video that I did, I kind of talked about something called the fun factor, right? Well, you're just like going, hey, what do we do that's just about the fun factor? All right, let me jump down here for a quick second here. Mike Rand, good morning, my dear friend. Always a pleasure. Always, always, always. All right. Emmanuel, hello. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Love the new Inspired by Gibson Epiphone. Dude, they are just not $699. I am like kind of, pardon the expression, pissing myself. Jason, hello. The Thunder from not down under, you're up there. What's going on, my man? Great to see you. Hang on a second. It's been a minute. Where's it in B flat? Flippin' A. First of all, any of you that are tuned in, I'm Doug. Welcome to Doppler's Gear Garage. We are all about guitar. I just had a little bit of fun there. So we talked about that natural sound. You take the minor pentatonic. That's really kind of groovy. You can add that flat 5 there. But basically, we're just going 1, flat 3, 4, 5, natural 7, minor major pentatonic is what I would call that. Sorry, that's the muscle memory I was talking about. There's my natural 7. All right, so that to say, all right, let me go back up and get a little salutation. Mike, I don't think I properly eed you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Always a pleasure. And gosh darn it, Emmanuel, let's go for a little middle position for you, my friend. By the way, I learned this trick from Gilby Clark. All the way down in the bridge position, volume all the way up for those of you that are Gibson-esque players, or have kind of something that's like this where you can blend the volumes together. All the way up on your bridge controls, middle position, blend in. Here is. Here is, yeah, it should go all the way out. And this is. All right, so in any case, manual. Let's go to C. You know, Emmanuel, I apologize for asking, or not asking. I don't think I've ever asked you what kind of guitar you play. In fact, people, do me a favor. Let me know what's your number one go-to. If there's a number one go-to, what's your number one go-to guitar? In any case, that is what's neat about it. Is that's kind of almost like that number two pickup selection. Then I add a little bit more of the neck pickup. In any case, Emmanuel, good morning, my friend. Always a pleasure. All right. Good. Well, good morning. Paul Richard. So the funny thing is, Paul's such a... I have the best students because they're just, they're the best. So, Paul, good morning, my dear friend. Paul has the coolest amp. Which of your guitars is your favorite, Paul? In any case, good morning, my friend. I don't have my graphic here, but it is time to raise them up. I'm drinking Hotel Latte, the very splendid Melissa Doppler brought up to me. By the way, those of you that kind of know me from the Helix community, I dropped another video this morning at 6 a.m. It was scheduled to go, but I worked until 3:30. And so it's an hour, basically, 55 minutes of Q&A with Eric Klein, the chief product architect for Line 6, and is talking about all these great questions people asked about Stadium. And it's really, I just got some great stuff. Sometimes with Eric, you always know you're going to get great stuff, but because of the questions people asked in response to the last video, which was, again, I was like, hey, leave your comments and questions. I read those questions. I'm like, hey, Eric, can we do it like a Zoom thing? So it's just so good. So if you're jonesing on the Stadium front, there's so many great questions he answered. So have at that. After the live stream, perhaps. All right, hang on. What are you saying there, honey? There we go. Saying hello. Emmanuel. So here's the thing. First of all, thank you. But the real deal is that, and Melissa's heard me yap about this before, it's literally kind of the most natural motion that you can have. I used to do it with a set of keys, but I don't really carry a set of keys anymore. But if you had a key ring and you held the ring in your hands and you got the keys to kind of go back and forth kind of on this little axis, and you just kind of wag the pick, if you will, it's literally that most natural motion. You just kind of get there by, and it's literally just kind of taking this and bring it down the instrument. I use the second and third fingers there as a guide on the pick guard or on the body. I use this part of my thumb and this part of my palm. And I'll call this the thumb palm and the pinky palm. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 table legs, if you will, that then allow me to do that. As I kind of move up on the bass strings, a couple of things happen. And one of the other things I discovered is when I'm just on the low E string, I kind of extend my hand in such a way, and I'm just kind of moving back and forth on the the high E string, so I'm not actually making contact there. But when I start playing on the 6th and 5th, you're targeting a pick window, if you will, or a string window, where you kind of have to have a wider range, and then I start to creep up onto the pick guard. So that little base of support, but I don't elbow. And the thing about elbow is generally there's some people who can go really, really fast with the windshield wiper. However, if you think about the ability to go from, again, sorry, let's get it a little bit more like this. There we go. The other thing about this is I have just been busting my butt just trying to get, and just different picking combinations, and then, oh, I'm a little out of tune. I need to fix that right now. I was a little out of tune a minute ago, but now I'm even more than a little. But just really working on the things where there are transitions that are difficult, and just kind of going, okay, hey, you know what, I'm going to sit with the metronome. I'm going to take the time to fix this stuff, because there's a certain amount that all of us, I'm going to project, but I know what I'm going to say is true for 99.9% of us. There's all of us that we have our own feelings of inadequacy around the instrument. I do this well, but these are the things that I don't do well, and it's really easy to emotionally kind of build, to supercharge the negativity of the emotion around the things that we don't do well. So one of the best ways we can fix that, because it kind of just, it follows us around like a bad music cloud, is just kind of go, okay, well, what are some of those things? What are some exercises I can do to fix that? So for example, one of the things I'm working on, you heard me clip the open G string. The other thing I would suggest that you learn to get used to do is hear the sound of what your open strings sound like. Sorry. And when you hear, something, and you clip, and you recognize which string that's like, oh, okay, that was the 3rd string. What did I do that caused that, right? And it's just happening in the background again. You just kind of are listening to it and all of a sudden go, oh. But the idea of moving across 3 strings for 4 notes, there's nothing about that for me felt remotely natural. Felt like having my teeth pulled without any Novocaine or anything. I'm just like, oh my word, this. Oh, sorry. Sorry. So I was literally going basically 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 in terms of string numbers. And that's, you just kind of keep doing it, and all of a sudden your right hand can be just go, okay. And this is where this whole muscle memory really, really matters. So again, I want to encourage you, first of all, I've seen some new people who've shown up. Hello, Doug, in case we haven't met, welcome aboard. With your right hand, if there's anything that you're having a hard time doing, slow it down, break out your buddy. The metronome. So that's the other thing, is I encourage you, if you want to tackle things that you're having a hard time around, spend a little 15 minutes at the beginning of your day and just spend a little time with the metronome, and it just does so much to kind of put you in guitar state at the beginning of the day, and you just tackle a little bit of that, chipping away at that stone. It really goes a long way, again, towards your kind of guitar psychological well-being. All right, let's see. PAD guitars, what's my favorite riff to play at the moment? Last week somebody asked me that. Okay, hold on. There's a question about FR. Thank you, Melissa. You're the bestest. Somebody asked me that last week, and I'm afraid I may play the same lick, but I love. I'm not playing as well today. I play a little bit better. So that's that. And there, that one is, ideally, you don't want to get those ringing as a double stop. That's how you get it. And that was, of course, the infamous Paul Kossoff, who was really had just this beautiful vibrato. And you can hear Angus has got it, Joe Bonamassa has got it. I digress. All right, let's check it out. I'm going to jump down. Oh my word! Look at all these comments. I love you people. Hang on a second. Let me just jump out of line. Since first of all, Greg, hello. Mark, hello. John, hello. Welcome. Hold on. Let me see if Melissa sent me this comment specifically. Just a second, because I hate to go out of order. All right, hold on. Say there's a question about. From Mike R about FR. There we go. Hold on. Mike, you want to do me a favor so I don't have to hunt and peck here? Hello, Lewis. Adam, hello. Oh, there we go. Hold on. Is this it? Okay, hang on a second. Gosh darn it. John Schimpf, the rock star DD for president. John Schimpf for president. The greatest studio manager ever. All right, 7-string. Most of my life. I love that. I absolutely love that. Excellent. All right, let me catch up on this Jimmy Arsenault. Now I've made the mistake, because once you start jumping out of order, it is the kiss of death. Hang on a second. Okay, hang on a second. It's got to be. Oh, Paul Trombetta. Hello, my friend. Look at that shot, as always. Okay, there we go. All right, I've been thinking about getting a pair of FRFRs for my FM9. Any recommendation? Okay, here we go. Thank you. Found it. First of all, I'll try and jump back up in case I missed your question or giving you a proper salutation. My apologies. I'm on this little laptop, and as I've gotten older, my eyes are not what they once were, and I'm kind of like, oh. So, truth be told, I actually had 2 pairs of glasses on last night as I was working. It looked so stupid. I looked up in the mirror, because the mirror, I'm in a hotel, and I looked up, and I'm like, all right. So, lots of people are wondering, and this is also in this Great Line 6 video where we kind of talked about different things. You know, not everybody just needs an FR solution. That might be one of the solutions that we need as more and more of us dabble with modeling, right? And so for those of you who don't know, FR stands for full range flat response. And the idea is, unlike your traditional guitar speaker, which is voiced to come after your guitar into your favorite amp, and then make that loud and beautiful, that speaker has character, unlike a full range flat response, a speaker that's designed to be essentially flat. And so the idea is, first of all, I've not played the Fender Tone Master. I'm waiting for my second Tonex cab to show up. So I've spent a little bit of time with the Tonex cab. Really good. I'm waiting for the second one to show up so I can plug it in stereo. I love Power Cab. And I love Power Cab Plus, I should say, and then Power Cab Plus 212. I will also say that I have the from Positive Grid, their Spark Live, which is about yay big, and I do this once a month acoustic gig, and so I just they asked me to shoot some photos of me using it at the gig, and it basically has a pole mount on the bottom. Keep it clean, ladies and gentlemen. And so I went on to Amazon, bought this kind of large pole that it sits on, and it's great, by the way, for those of us that use loops. And so, and it's an acoustic gig, but I was like, let me bring that, and and I got the woman that kind of books me there, the talent buyer, and she shot some photos, and so I plugged in and I was like, oh, this sounds great. So I've used it for loops. I've used it for modelers. And one of the things that it's got that is arguably, there are kind of, traditional, put them on their side, roll them slightly on their side, mount them on a stick, PA, speaker on a stick, but those are usually not voiced specifically for guitar. This thing sounded great. I've used it for tracks. I've used it for modelers. I love Power Cab. So I'm gonna give you the skinny. One of the questions that came up in this line 6 thing was, well, is Power Cab going to get a refresh? So the short version, and I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on this because it's important, because for some folks this is going to matter. And Eric was not able to answer this because it's about forward-facing product development. But basically, Line 6 uses a proprietary connection method called L6 link, and it's basically an AES EBU cable. But what it enables you to do is basically take one connection out of your Helix, and then connect that, and then daisy chain the 2 power cabinets, and they know which one's left and right. It's really incredibly groovy. But that is slightly being retired, but that L6 link technology, they're basically using this new technology called Nexus, or a connection methodology, that the Nexus cable will go out to a breakout box that's called Expand D10, and that, in addition to Variax VDI, for those of us that are Variax users, even though Variax has been discontinued, there's still supporting that format, and also for L6 links. So that is to say, with this next generation of Helix products, because it's going to be more than just the big Helix XL, which comes out in the fall, and then the smaller one, which comes out in the winter of this year. And then they're going to be smaller boxes after that. They basically said, hey, this is what we're going to do. They're going to rinse and repeat what they've done. But this allows them to have that connection format as you go, and this, Eric talks about this, you get smaller and smaller in size, the number of things you have to kind of get rid of in the process, you start to have to make choices in terms of the amount of space. So the ability to use this breakout function, the box, which also gives you USB, I think it gives you light pipe, and it gives you, again, VDI, which is the Variax format, and then also cab clone, L6 link for a cat. I'm mixing my boogies for power cap. So the point being is that as an ecosystem, one of the things that I've really loved, and I actually keep that the Positive Grid speaker mounted on the pole when I'm home rehearsing for a gig where I'm going to play with loops. I keep it behind my monitors in my studio, so it's in the middle of my stereo field in front of me, kind of like a wedge would kind of be on the floor, but it allows me to have that at ear level, so I'm hearing the mix on axis, which is really, really important when you're playing along with tracks. You're listening for your drum cues, and you're listening for all those things you need to kind of grab onto as an anchor. So I really like that. Power cab has a tilt back, as does the Tonex cab. I've got a huge amount of time with Power cab. As of right now, there's another solution. I did a series of videos for Celestion on their full range live response speakers that are designed to be placed in an existing guitar cabinet. And this is another great way to go, where you basically use their proprietary speakers and you put them in your favorite cabinet. And this has been one of people's kind of complaints about the different form factors. Like, all right, it sounds like my amp, but and my cab, but something about the projection of the cabinet for some people is a thing. I'm kind of happy to plug into whatever. However, I will say with the Celestion thing, what I did was I basically loaded them into a ton of different cabinets, including combos where you have the ability to go in through the power amp in, and now you have the equivalent of power cab, but it's basically using your favorite guitar amp, bypassing the preamp, going into the power amp in, and you can use the existing cabinet. So you say you've got some combo sitting around, you swap out the speaker, you use that power amp, and arguably if it's a solid state power amp, that may even be better. So one of the ones that I used was an old Marshall valve state, which was great. I used the DT series amps from line 6. I also swapped out the speakers in a Marshall 2 Marshall 412s. And I also did the same. One of them still got it. Actually, I only did it with one, with the Roland JC 120. 60 watts of stereo power amp. and another great format. And so then one of the other things you want to consider is the nuance. Power cab and Tonex cab are both sealed back. So the thing that was kind of cool about the JC120 was the open back. So say you were going for something a little bit more. Let's do this. Well, you want that little bit of air. And this is an open back, the Catalyst that I'm playing through. It's an open back cabinet. And the other thing is because it's kind of up against a wall, getting a little tiny bit of reflection, not just the echo, but and there's reverb on there. So if I lived there, that's one of the reasons where an open back would be really helpful. So I don't know if I muddied the waters or provided information that will be a help. But it's an interesting thing because I have a relationship with all these companies. I really probably need to do the pros and cons of the different ones of these, or at least the pros, and this is what I like about it, because I kind of love them all. I'm kind of like a kid with a puppy. Like if I have a piece of gear that comes home, I'm like, I will find something to do it. For the most part, there's only like 3 pieces of gear, and I jettison them. Like most of the time, I'm like, oh, I can use it for that, because gear has a tendency to be like that. I hope that helps. Hang on a second. I see some new people. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. Okay, hold on. He's back. Hey, what's going on, my man? All right, Albert. Okay, there we go. For a moment. Hold on a second. I'm on hotel internet. Okay. Good morning. Sunny California. I'm watching you, Doug, from a hotel. I'm in a hotel. Well, we can raise them up on that. Happy hotel watching. Great to see you. It's Ron, right? Yeah. All right. Yes, this hotel is totally full of... So it's kind of, for those of us that have done the guitar camps... by the way, I got some great news this week. I am super stoked. After I'm done at the John Petrucci camp, I get a chance to go teach at the Corey Wong guitar camp, which is really kind of like, it's all those funky guys with all that amazing sense of time. So I'm super stoked. So anybody who's going to that Corey Wong guitar camp, I look forward to seeing you there. John Mello, good morning. Nice axe. I bought one just like it 2 days ago. Dude, is it the same color? Gotta turn that neck pickup up. I mean, all right, so I get to tell a little bit of a story here, and I'm going to try and catch up with everybody, which I will probably fail miserably. So the funny thing is that the good folks at Epiphone, because I'm an Epiphone, Gibson, and Kramer endorser, very thankful and very grateful and very humbled to be, just crazy. So they sent this around January because we did something at the NAMM show around, I did a thing at the what they call Tech Track, so it's a presentation around Gibson, Epiphone, Kramer, and Boogie as it relates to the House of Worship. So they sent this guitar out for that and some other stuff. But the thing about this guitar is the other day I was playing it because I'm going to be doing a video on it, I think this week. And I broke a string, and I was like, all right, I've got one of the things that I did in the past, I think 12 months, I bought Greenie, not the $50,000 Greenie, because that's a little rich for my taste. But the point being is I broke a string on this, and I was like, let me just do a test. Let me pick up Greenie immediately afterward. And I'm like, this guitar really did an outstanding job of holding its own. I was surprised. One of the things that I noticed about the Greenie, I guess it's the Custom Shop reissue, as I think they've done something to the wood where they kind of find some, and keep it clean, they find some sort of vibrator for the wood because the wood feels like it's been loosened up. Those of us who are old enough to know about kind of breaking in guitars, there's something that happens where the wood just feels loose, right? This guitar still has a tightness to it that you can feel by the way that the notes vibrate underneath your fingers. And you can kind of feel it. Here's where you feel it. Just all the way around. And so these are new strings that I did not thoroughly stretch. This guitar actually stays in tune really well. Like my first thing that I pretty much do on every Gibson guitar is I put locking tuners on there. And this one, I did not feel the need to do that. But the one of the things I talked about in the last Line 6 video was kind of when you're on some sort of modeling device, and there's all the way up, and then there's the bringing the volume all the way down, all the way off, and bringing it just barely. And that's where that's right. I always apologize for wrong notes. It's got that beautiful snarl. I'm all the way up. Just flipping A, and then all the way to, gotta have the volume up. There we go. I'm just like, holy cow, $699. Oh my word. Okay. All right. All right. I got you right. All right. Good. I got it. I hope I've unfrozen. Doppler's Gear Garage. Thank you very much. Well, at least I have people that know how to spell my name. Thank you very much, Digital Viper. What if I can? No, I can't change that. Well, there you have it. The connection is blocked. Uh-oh. That's not good. All right, Joe. Uh-oh. Let's see. There we go. Hold on. Hello, brother Doug. You've got very fast fingers. My word. You know what? I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to grab the second set of glasses because of the amount of characters here. So this is going to look totally stupid, but I'm down. Give me just a moment. Let me not break anything. Now, this is going to be the stupidest thing you've seen all day, but this is my version of bifocals. Doesn't this look absolutely stupid? However, now I can see that. Hello, first of all, Junai. Hello. Sorry for looking like an idiot. There we go. It doesn't look quite so stupid. You have got very fast fingers right there. Right hand, pinky waving face heart shape. All right, good. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Now that I've completely embarrassed myself, at least I could read it. Okay. Sonny, good morning, my friend. Hang on, you got a little bit of shred there. All right. Sonny, if you're still here, gosh darn it. That's for you, my dear friend. So for those of you who don't know Sonny, well, now you do. Sonny is a friend and a former student and a friend of like 40 years. So back when I had a band called Captain Crunch, he loaned me his brand new Ibanez RG550. And we went into the studio. And the funny thing is, it was one of those things without drugs, just saying. I was literally in the studio playing guitar for 24 hours because that's what we did back then, but without the drugs. So hello, Sonny. Thanks, Jew. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Red face heart shape. I love that. Gosh darn it. Paul Trombetta, always a pleasure. Oh. So there is one of those. Don't tell Melissa, but there is one of those for sale on Craigslist. And I saw that. I've been like, because he was like, I've got this one guitar that I'm like, I've been thinking about training for something. So if you've been playing the Epi Jones yet, and you love it, I'm like, okay. Because I saw it, I'm like, that looks like such a cool guitar. And I'm like, because I'm thinking, okay, first of all, they had one, there was the Gibson one at the Gibson showroom in San Francisco that Pat Johnson loaned me, and I was like, oh, this is a great guitar. And he said everybody who borrows that guitar loves it and wants to keep it. But okay, thank you for that, Paul. You are the bestest. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Paul is a brilliant guitar player and a brilliant singer and a brilliant pedal maker, and he's just an awesome guy. And he's a San Francisco Bay Area dude. So Paul, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I can muster. I think Paul deserves some B flat. Even if he's not here. Top of the morning to you, Paul Trombetta. You are just a flippin' rock star. Answered that. Good. To each their own. How about that? All right. Good. There we go. FRs are. I'm curious. PID guitars. What are you running? Good. Thank you, Mel. Yep. Okay, good. There we go. Thank you, Mel. You are the bestest. I'll have to watch. No, it was actually a series that we did. Tap harmonic. Oh, by the way, those of you who don't know, the funny thing is I usually miss the third one, so I've been kind of like, okay, I gotta work on this thing. So just for piss and giggles, tap harmonics, if you play a note, in this case a C at the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and basically instead of tapping 12 frets above, or I should say at the 17th, at the 17th, 12th, and 10th, as opposed to tapping that note. All right, in any case, that is where those harmonics live. And before I was talking about the foursies, but hitting things 4 times. That harmonic is just a little bit more sensitive to kind of pull out of the guitar, but the idea of hitting each one of those either 4 times, just sitting on each one. So again, basically, let's see, that's going to be another way to describe it's the octave, it's the perfect 5th, and it's the 4th. I'm wanting to. There we go. I'll practice that if you do. Basically, I'm going 1, 4, 5, 1, 5, 4. Basically, I'm playing C, F, G, C, G, F. Basically, hammer on from nowhere. Hammer, hammer, pick. Sorry, tap, pull, pull, hammer. But I'm doing it a 16th note, so basically it's going to be 2 6s and a 4. Basically, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means you have to go from that back to that guy. I can't quite get it at speed yet. That's a really cool kind of look. You can also, if you really want to be mean to yourself, so you're having to do this little, what they call it, Joe used to call it a banjo roll. With the pinky, of course, right? Which sounded about as much of a train wreck like it actually was. I love this guitar. All right, Digital Viper. Nova Ceres J. Oh, okay. You know, the funny thing is, Fralin Noiseless P9. Oh, you know, so there is. So, for those of you that are P90 fanatics, I just got a set of noiseless Gibson P90s that I put in my Les Paul Special. And so, sooner than later, I'm going to be doing a video on that. But first of all, I've yet to play any of the Novo guitars, and they're so cool. Rhett Schull, RJ Ronquillo, great players who use Novo guitars, and they have a very kind of cool, distressed vibe. I think I would probably love playing those guitars. Congratulations, and Lindy Fralin makes brilliant pickups. And noiseless P90s, the great thing about a P90 is that, you know, for those of you who, we're going to go into pickup geek land. So the thing about P90s is they're actually, and this is the interesting thing, I learned this from my handler. He hates it when I call him that. Hey, Mesa Boogie Trent, if you're watching, hello, my friend. My handler. I love the way he handles me. So the point being is that if you think about a P90, they're actually not called pole pieces, they're called pole screws, and they're in the middle of the pickup. And if you think about, here I can actually demonstrate this. If you think about the difference of moving that pick slightly on a pinch harmonic, you begin to realize how important the location of the pick actually is. Sorry, the pickup actually is. And so the thing about P90 that's really interesting, where although, you know, there's covers on here, there'll be 2 sets of pole pieces. So basically, this is a wide aperture humbucking pickup that's hearing the string from there and there. So not only does it have more output, but it's literally hearing the string from 2 different spots. When Melissa Doppler calls, people listen. Hello, honey. Oh. Awesome. Good to know. Thank you, love. You're my favorite. All right. So we are going to need to get out of here a little bit earlier than I normally do. I apologize, but we're going with friends we're going out for the day. So in any case, just want to say thank you for hanging out. I'm sorry that I didn't get back to everybody here. So first of all, Jimmy, hello. Jean, late. I got my go-to was a 2023 Fender Stratocaster, Miami Blue. I love that. First of all, if you're new here, gosh darn it, if you're new here, I'm going to do a little blue here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I apologize if you've been here before and we haven't, and we said hello and I forgot, but I think you're new. In any case, welcome. This is a guitar family. We meet every Saturday. Normally we go from about 9 until about just a little bit before 11. Today I got to cut it short, but always great to have people here. Griffin Gaines, hello, hello, hello. Because I spent too much money building it. Oh, that is hilarious. I love that. At the moment, my go-to is a Chapman M13 with SD hot rails. Very, very cool. I was talking about hot rails with my buddy Trent at my handler. I've got rails in a Kramer SM1, and they're really, really cool. So congratulations. Excellent, excellent. Did you see the new Chappers video? He did a video on with Andertons about being able to hear the difference between a Mesa Boogie and different modelers. If you haven't, check that out. Because those who don't know, Chappers is Chapman, and so there's so check that out. It'll be easy to find. Okay, let's see here. JS 2450, thumbs up. Come on, those are great guitars. And then again, that just, I love that mic. That just, like, it says, for those of us that were playing long before 7 strings were really even thought of commonly, they were used in jazz. But the thing is, I just love that. And you, always a pleasure. Paul, so hard to decide. Recently, my go-to is my Fender Strat Plus, and you play it well, my friend. John, again, great to see you. Mike, okay, I'm just going to very quickly go through here. Again, Adam, always a pleasure. Oh, there we go. That's a Gretsch. Okay, G6229 TG, so that'll be a Gretsch with a Bigsby. Nicely played, my man. Those are beautiful guitars. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Luis Olvera. I'm not going to be able to read that without my stupid-looking bifocals, but I'm for you. My go-to Fiesta Red Brower assembled Strat from the late 80s. Come on. There we go. With a link, you rock and roller you. Lewis and I, by the way, were in a band called Rampage. We won our 9th grade. He was in 10th grade, so you'll always be older than me, even though I'm, old. But we won the talent show, and I still have the little newspaper clipping. And it said something to the effect of, like, the band, besides having a certain amount of energy, had an extreme amount of volume, and it must have impressed the judges since they won. So we were, well, this is a great story. I forgot the drummer. This is a classic drummer. So he got a Tupperware container from his mom's house, and he came with his own vodka. We're talking about 9th grade here, folks. The drummer shows up for and so we listened to this private school that we went to called Head Royce, and I got to wrap it up here in a second, but this story is worth telling. So we're 9th and 10th graders, and the drummer shows up with his own vodka in a Tupperware container, and sure enough, he downed that puppy before we did our set. But I guess it helped, sort of. Well, that didn't quite come out the way I intended it to. All right, Paul, there we go. John, Jim, if only there's no tax, tell me about it. All right, Jose, great to see you. Hello, 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 hello. David Ernst, that's not the Gear Garage. No, it is not. It is the Gear Hotel. David Ernst and I are dear old friends from our Berkeley High days. David, always a pleasure. All right. I have more people that I'm going to be able to catch up with. So if I missed you here, Rochelle, hello. Welcome up. David Domingo. You must be tagging David Domingo. Pleasure. I think you're a first-time watcher. Welcome aboard. Thanks so much for saying hi and sending David our way. Hey. All right. Sylvain, there we go. My spinal nerve is, well, I'm believing from that, well, let's talk more about that when I see you next week, my man. Thank you for stopping by. I'm sorry to hear that. Hold on, where did that go? All right, let's connect on that next week. Mike, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. That is that's some serious deal. So I'll be praying for you, my friend. Okay. Awesome. Mark, hello, hello. I will salute you with music at another time. Greg, always a pleasure. Hotel Doppler. Melissa, I know I'm saying hello and goodbye to everybody. My old band did a righteous version of All Right Now. It's an epic tune. Absolutely. Brian Felix, if I missed you before you hopped out, I love you, bro. Always a pleasure. All right. Good, good, good. Jimmy Arsenault, come on. I recently revisited have revisited Strat again, and I'm loving it, especially the 22 fret maple neck. This guy, by the way, will make anything sound great, as will Jimmy. Nitin, great to see you. Hello, hello. There you go. Nice to see people getting in shape on a Saturday, as they should be. Awesome, and good morning to you. Sven, hey. All right, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to answer here, and I apologize for anybody that I missed at the end. I've got to get out of here. My apologies. Well, Dr. Phil, hello. Simone, hello. We haven't met yet, so I want to say hello. Oh, yeah, I'm getting the Melissa. If that's housekeeping, we're still here. Thank you. Hotel Life, that's totally hilarious. Scott, hello, hello. Eric Martin Bureau, hello, hello. Bobby, hello. Good morning to you. Thank you for the kind words. All right, I've got to get out of here. Simon, hello, hello. So there we go. Come on in, love. I'm just finishing up. All right, so let me answer the question that was here, and I apologize. We've got to get out of here. We got friends that are waiting for us. So in terms of the relaxation, this is so important. So first and foremost, if you think about your left hand, just bring it up. First of all, one of the things that's super important, and not everybody's going to do it, is, if possible, like John Petrucci, keep the guitar on your left leg. And the reason being is when the guitar sits on your body, it sits in a position that's most natural for your left hand to extend out and in at the top of the neck, as opposed to doing this where you're kind of reaching across your gut, if you will. This is not a natural hand position. This is, and this is for the classical hand position, you're just kind of moving along here. First, staying relaxed with the left hand. I would suggest, because one of the things I spend a lot of time on is start off slowly. It's great to do this watching TV. Metronome. Hang on. I'm going to get killed for this, by the way. And just keep it loose, and then go, okay. So again, I'm big on the foursies, but I'm just baking in via muscle memory Oh, sorry. And so really it just becomes the way you touch the instrument. You're just used to saying loose. Because you... It's how you practice it. And it just takes a little time to go, okay, breathe. So a minute ago I was playing GAB and ABC. And so the reason I did that is just practice a pair of kind of note grooves. So I put the note off the neck there. Because there's a certain amount of, if you're focused like, I gotta get up there, I gotta do that transition, relax. Don't be in a hurry to get anywhere. Take your time, breathe, make sure that your arms are loose, and ideally keep that right hand loose as well. The other and last thing I gotta say is make sure that you're not gripping hard with the thumb. And the same thing goes with these fingers. The only thing you wanna do, actually I'm gonna go to this fret where there's no harmonic, is literally only fret the note hard enough that it rings. Any harder will make it go out of tune. And the other things it causes you to strain with your fingertips. And again, the thumb, only, I like to say, if you're going to kiss your grandma on the cheek, that's about how hard you hit the neck there. That just keeps the neck from being pushed back. All right, I need to jet. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday, 9 a.m. We'll have a little bit more time, and I can answer all your questions. And I really thank you for hanging out. And I'll see you next week. Thanks again. Cheers.